After being paid for having over 30,000 conversations with strangers, I've learned one thing about myself and about you, something you might not even know. But before I tell you what that is, I want to give you some more context. I've always been someone who's obsessed with more money, more success, more relationships, more health. You can call me what I call myself, an extreme indulger. Like this one time, I was up for over 24 hours straight, working nonstop. And by the end of it, I thought I had enough energy to make the 2-hour drive home. It was a beautiful summer morning. The sun had just risen, and I was driving down this windy highway overlooking a cliffside when my body started to relax and my eyelids started to get heavy. I slowly drifted off to sleep as my car swerved off the road. I woke up, I jolt the car left as it smacks into an embankment, and in slow motion it launches into the air, going upside down and right side up, upside down and right side up, flipping 2 times before smashing onto its tires. I got out of the car, I realized what happened, and I took a deep breath. I shouldn't have gotten in that car, but I truly believed that I could have made it. And this mindset really surprised me because this mindset and attitude to keep going, to keep working, and to keep serving had been the key to all of my success, especially when I was a door-to-door salesman. This mindset even led me to my work in East Africa as a sales consultant, but instead of going from door to door in American suburbia like I was used to, we were going from mud hut to mud hut deep in the countryside of Uganda. We provided affordable solar energy to families who have had to use kerosene gas to light their homes their entire lives. I remember ceilings blackened from soot and heard horrific accidents from candlelight fires. The challenges people faced out there, it made me want to do everything in my power to help. I remember the joys and excitement from villagers when they lit their homes for the first time, knowing they wouldn't have to breathe in toxic fumes anymore. It was those moments that fueled my mindset and attitude to keep serving, to keep going, and to keep working. I mean, if everything felt so rewarding and so fulfilling, why then would there be any reason for me to stop? After Africa, I was invited to consult for another social enterprise, this time in Yangon, Myanmar. And again, I found myself continuing to say yes to more experiences that would give me more money, more fulfillment, more relationships. This habit of continuing to say yes to more would eventually lead me down a series of events that would forever change my life. After spending a week working in a rural fishing village, I had the choice to either travel back to the city of Yangon and get some rest, or take a flight and complete a 50-kilometer trek up and down the Himalayas. I chose to indulge. And not only that, but afterwards, I was invited to perform a fire dance back at a popular venue in the city. Everything spun out of control at the end of that fire performance. When I did my usual spin to whip out my fire and take my bow, I felt this forceful wave of numbing sensations vibrating from my lower back down into both of my legs. Something was wrong. But instead of going home or to a hospital, I didn't want to miss out on more fun. And so I went to go hang out with my friends. And by the time I got there, I was no longer able to walk, stand, let alone sit up straight on my own. Over the course of the next week, I would have to crawl everywhere. A doctor who looked at my MRI scan told me that I have desiccated disc disease and that there is no cure. I was released from my contract at work and told I would have to go back home as soon as possible. From before I can even remember, I'd always been this way, chasing adventure after adventure. I lived my life on one speed, just like how I loved to win in Mario Kart, by never letting go of that accelerator button. I was a door-to-door salesman for about a decade, and I became relentlessly persistent. I learned to press forward, no after no, door after door. And because my mindset operated at a speed greater than what my body was capable of, I achieved incredible results and got great recognition, but at the compromise to the well-being of my body. Being in sales, there's a lot of pressure to produce and to perform. I had quotas, competition, and expectations to meet, and would go through extreme measures to be the best, but lost sight of why that even mattered. And I became so critical of myself because of that. I was humbled, but still hungry to grow. So I went to my favorite resource for new ideas, TED. I downloaded all different kinds of talks that I could listen to while I was running in between doors. And there was one in particular called The Power of Mindfulness, which inspired me to enroll in my first 10-day silent meditation. Now, I thought I had some kind of idea what I was getting myself into, but to be frank, I had no clue how difficult this would actually become. Imagine as if your mind was a car driving nonstop all over the place, and then it was forced to an abrupt stop. For 10 days, I'd be without any device, no book or pen to read or write. It would just be me, my body, and my mind. And like a deep wound finally revealing itself, I saw the true nature of my endlessly wandering mind in its incessant quest for pleasure and satiation. I tell myself, Phi, focus your attention. But my face would be really itchy, or my knees would be hurting from sitting from so many hours. Phi, sharpen your mind. Come back to the sensations on your body. Over and over again, day by day, like an athlete who was working out their body for physical strength, I was working out my mind by gently nudging it back to being present with my body. By the end of the 9th day, those loud desires and distractions settled to become softer, subtler noises. I appreciated this newfound connection I had between my mind and body because I was able to recognize those subtle sensations and if they were associated with pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral emotions. After completing the 10 days, I left my job in sales and decided to take an entire year off. And I pendulum swung from this chasing of money and success to chasing stillness. But I was still stuck in this conundrum of chasing because on one side, I still wanted to feel financially and professionally fulfilled. And on the other, I wanted to have contentment with who I was and with what I had. But because I placed all this pressure and all these expectations on myself, no matter what I did, I'd always end up wanting more. I'd always catch myself back on that one speed chase again. All this to say, there's no right or wrong way to live your life, but do your best to be intentional about all the choices that you make. Stop acting on all your reactions like I did. Take that moment to pause and think to yourself, is this what I really want to be doing? Or am I continuing that endless chase? Am I really being present with my choices, or am I on autopilot? After 30,000 conversations, the one thing I've learned is that it is easy to keep chasing, but most people don't know when to stop. It took me nearly losing my life to understand. And for you, practice driving you as your own vehicle. I've had to build this own awareness around how it feels, especially when that voice in my head tells me that I need to be better, I need to be making more money, I need to be doing more things. And when that voice speaks up, I can now take that moment to pause before indulging. I don't always have to give in to that chase. But if I do, that's my choice. And it is that kind of self-awareness that will help you to be better at making decisions and understanding yourself. So, how do you develop this kind of intuitive wisdom? You can start by creating this habit of continually checking in with how you're feeling, especially in those moments when you're emotional, like when you're having an argument and you feel your face heating up or throat clenching, or when you see someone you love and you experience those euphoric sensations or lightness in your body. I have a fun activity that I invite you to try. Most people tend to use their phones, but I love to carry this small notebook around with me to write down every time I notice that I'm chasing. I'd write down what triggered it, where it showed up on my body, and how it made me feel. And after years of logging this, themes began to emerge, which presented fun solutions to help me minimize and reframe some of these responses that I thought was automatic. Living in and out of LA over the last 15 years, I'd face heavy traffic as a part of everyday life. And especially when I have to be somewhere, it would make me feel anxious and impatient. And so as a fun solution, I purchased an electric bubble wand that I'd pull out whenever I was stuck in traffic and let the bubbles float out my window as a delight to me and to everybody around me. I took back control of something that used to stress me, and I embraced it. You're always in control too, but you gotta prioritize your practice in strengthening your connection between your mind and your body. Even if it's just for one moment a day. Perhaps that moment is right now to pause and to take a deep breath in and to watch the observing thoughts in your mind settle down into the feeling sensations in your body. If you fall out of practice like I do myself, be kind to yourself and start again. I still have moments where I find myself chasing, but I'm much better and wiser at knowing when to stop. You're going to have to discover that for yourself in navigating the vehicle that is your life. And remember, winning at one speed only works in Mario Kart.